Welcome to the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube. This is our Awakening Together weekly gathering. Each and every week we have a different minister who speaks. If you would like to attend our services live, please visit our website, awakening-together.org. Click on Online Sanctuary on the main menu, then How to Enter the Sanctuary. Our services are held Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Good morning, good day, good afternoon. Welcome to the big blue marble that we call living on Earth. I would like to start with our statement of purpose and our core value for today. So our statement of purpose is that we are an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. So the value that was given today was value number 5. And that value, core value, is we accept all forms as temporary. Appearances permitted, start again. We accept all forms as temporary appearances, permitted through enduring awareness of self. We live this value by honoring all appearances and all experiences while continually reflecting on changeless truth. So the title that was given today, actually first we have to do announcements apparently. So we'll start with those. Resume recording. There we go. So the description that was given for today's, or the title actually is called Loving What Is As It Is. And with that being our title for today, I just want to invite everyone into a prayer, which is really just this, that we open our hearts and we be completely available to whatever is to be transmitted through us and for us on this day. Amen. My intention actually is to spend a little more time than we normally do in a bit of a meditation with a sutra. There is a Heart Sutra, which is from Buddhism, and there is a song, well, actually a performance of that sutra, which we will play shortly. But before we play that song, I actually just wanted to read you the Heart Sutra so that you could get a sense of it. And hopefully when we play it, you can just relax into it, because the sutra itself is performed in Japanese. So let me read it to you in English first. When practicing deeply the perception of wisdom, it is perceived that all 5 elements that sum up the whole of an individual's mental and physical existence are empty, and it is saved from all suffering and distress. Form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness, and that which is emptiness, form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. All the interrelated elements that make up the empirical world are marked with emptiness. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not decrease or increase. Therefore, in emptiness, no form, no feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. No eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and so forth until no realm of mind consciousness. No ignorance and also no extinction of it, and so forth until no old age and death, and also no extinction of them. No suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, and also no attainment, with nothing to attain. The mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fear exists. Far apart from every perverted view, one dwells in nirvana. In the three worlds, all Buddhas depend on perception of wisdom and attain unsurpassed enlightenment of the Buddha. Therefore, know that perception of wisdom is the greatest transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So I invite you, as you listen to this performance by Tina Tin, that if you feel called to close your eyes and just listen to the transmission of the mantra with the heart. The actual mantra itself is the very end where they were chanting, and for whatever reason, I can't even say it without the music. The music just puts the words right there, but something like Pada Solgate, but just beautiful. It's doesn't even have to be in English for it to just really touch this heart. So, loving what is as it is doesn't feel like a surprise that was in fact what came through to be taught today, to this one especially. And the way that it was described to me was this. If I can find it. There it is. That the only obstacle to loving what is the belief that I don't want it to be this way. And it all starts with the thought, I. But who is this mysterious I that keeps chiming in and saying things aren't okay the way they are? And what does death have to teach us about this fictional I? And when I heard that connection, I kind of went, wait, what? Okay, death. So the reading for today is from Michael Singer's Untethered Soul, and it is chapter 17. And Inka Omholt has graciously volunteered to read for us today. So if you wish to read along, we're reading from chapter 17, Contemplating Death, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And I would like to hand the mic over to Inka.
It is truly a great cosmic paradox that one of the best teachers in all of life turns out to be death. No person or situation could ever teach you as much as death has to teach you. While someone could tell you that you are not your body, death will show you. While someone could remind you of the insignificance of the things that you cling to, death takes them all away in a second. While people can teach you that men and women of all races are equal and that there is no difference between the rich and the poor, death instantly makes us all the same. The question is, are you going to wait until that last moment to let death be your teacher? The mere possibility of death has the power to teach us at any moment. A wise person realizes that at any moment they may breathe out and the breath may not come back in. It could happen at any time, in any place, and your last breath is gone. You have to learn from this. A wise being completely and totally embraces the reality, the inevitability, and the unpredictability of death. Anytime you're having trouble with something, think of death. Let's say you're the jealous type and you can't stand anyone being close to your mate. Think about what will happen when you're no longer here. Is it really all that romantic that your loved one should live alone with no one to care for them? If you can get past your personal issues, you'll find that you want the person you love to be happy and to have a full and beautiful life. Since that is what you want for them, why are you bothering them now just for talking to someone? It shouldn't take death to challenge you to live at your highest level. Why wait until everything is taken from you before you learn to dig down deep inside yourself to reach your highest potential? A wise person affirms, if with one breath all of this can change, then I want to live at the highest level while I'm alive. I'm going to stop bothering the people I love. I'm going to live life from the deepest part of my being. This is the consciousness necessary for deep and meaningful relationships. Look how callous we get with our loved ones. We take it for granted that they're there and that they will continue to be there for us. What if they died? What if you died? What if you knew that this evening would be the last time you'd get to see them? Imagine that an angel comes down and tells you, straighten up your affairs. You will not wake up from your sleep tonight. You're coming to me. Then you'd know that every person you see that day, you'd be seeing for the last time. How would you feel? How would you interact with them? Would you even bother with the little grudges and complaints they've been carrying around? How much love could you give the ones you love, knowing it would be the last time you'd get to be with them? Think about what it would be like if your life, like that very moment, with everyone. Your life would be really different. You should contemplate this. Death is not a morbid thought. Death is the greatest teacher in all of life. Take a moment to look at the things you think you need. Look at how much time and energy you put into various activities. Imagine you knew you were going to die within a week or a month. How would that change things? How would your priorities change? How would your thoughts change? Think honestly about what you would do with your last week. What a wonderful thought to contemplate. Then ponder this question. If that's really what you would do with your last week, what are you doing with the rest of your time? Wasting it? Throwing it away? Treating it like it's nothing precious? What are you doing with life? That is what death asks you. Let's say you're living life without the thought of death, and the angel of death comes to you and says, come, it's time to go. You say, but no, you're supposed to give me a warning so I can decide what I want to do with my last week. I'm supposed to get one more week. Do you know what death will say to you? He will say, my God, I gave you 52 weeks this past year alone. And look at all the other weeks I've given you. Why would you need one more? What did you do with all those? If asked that, what are you going to say? How will you answer? I wasn't paying attention. I didn't think it mattered. That's a pretty amazing thing to say about your life. Death is a great teacher. But who lives with the level of awareness? It doesn't matter what age you are. At any time, you could take a breath and there may never be another. It happens all the time. To babies, to teenagers, to people in midlife, not just to the aged. One breath and they're gone. No one knows when their time will be. That's not how it works. So why not be bold enough to regularly reflect on how you would live that last week? If you were to ask this question of people who are truly awakened, they wouldn't have any problem answering you. Not a thing would change inside of them. Not a thought would cross their minds. If death were to come in an hour, if death were to come in a week, or if death were to come in a year, they would live exactly the same way as they're living now. There's not a single thing they carry inside of their hearts that they would rather be doing. In other words, they are living their lives fully and are not making compromises or playing games with themselves. You have to be willing to look at what it would be like if death was staring you in the face. Then you have to come to peace within yourself so that it doesn't make any difference whether it is or not. There's a story of a great yogi who said that every moment of his life, he felt as though a sword were suspended above his head by a spider web. He lived his life with the awareness that he was that close to death. You are that close to death. Every time you get in the car, every time you walk across the street, and every time you eat something, it could be the last thing you do. Do you realize that what you're doing at any moment is something that someone was doing when they died? He died eating dinner. He died in a car accident 2 miles from this house. She died in a plane wreck on a trip to New York. He went to bed and never woke up. At some point, this is how it happens to somebody. No matter what you're doing, you can be sure somebody died that way. You must not be afraid to discuss death. Don't get uptight about it. Instead, let this knowledge help you to live every moment of your life fully, because every moment matters. That's what happens when somebody knows they only have a week left. You can be certain that they would tell you that the most important week they have ever had was that last week. Everything is a million times more meaningful in that final week. What if you were to live every week that way? At this point, you should ask yourself, why you aren't living that way? You're going to die. You know that. You just don't know when. Every single thing will be taken from you. You will leave behind your possessions, your loved ones, and all your hopes and dreams for this life. You will be taken right out of where you are. You'll no longer be able to fill the roles you were so busy playing. Death changes everything in a flash. That's the reality of the situation. If all these things can be changed in an instant, then maybe they aren't so real after all. Maybe you better check out who you are. Maybe you should look deeper. The beauty of embracing deep truth is that you don't have to change your life. You just change how you live your life. It's not what you're doing. It's how much of you is doing it. Let's take a very simple example. You walked outside thousands of times, but how many times have you really appreciated it? Imagine a person in a hospital bed who has just been told they've got a week to live. They look up at the doctor and say, "Can I walk outside? Can I look at the sky just one more time?" If it were raining outside, they would want to feel the rain just once more. For them, that would be the most precious thing. But you don't want to feel the rain. You run and cover up. What is it that won't let us live our lives? What is inside of us that is so afraid that it keeps us from just enjoying life? This part of us is so busy trying to make sure the next thing goes right that we can't just be here now and live life. All the way, death is watching our footsteps. Don't you want to live before death comes? You're probably not going to get a warning. Very few people are told when they're going to die. Almost everybody just takes a breath and doesn't know they didn't take another one. You start using every day to let go of that sick, scared part of you that won't let you live life fully. Since you know you're going to die, be willing to say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done. Be willing to be fully present without being afraid of what will happen in the next moment. That's how people live when they face death. You get to do that too, because you're facing death every moment. Learn to live as though you are facing death at all times, and you become bolder and more open. If you live life fully, you won't have any last wishes. You will have lived them every moment. Only then will you have fully experienced life and release the part of you that is afraid of living. There is no reason to be afraid of life. And the fear will fade once you understand that the only thing there is to get from life is the growth that comes from experiencing it. Life itself is your career, and your interaction with life is your most meaningful relationship. Everything else you're doing is just focusing on a tiny subset of life in the attempt to give life some meaning. What actually gives life meaning is the willingness to live it. It isn't any particular event. It's the willingness to experience life events. What if you knew that the next person you'd see would be the last person you would ever see? You'd be right there soaking it in, experiencing it. It wouldn't matter what they were saying. You'd just enjoy hearing the words because it would be the last conversation you'd ever have. What if you brought that kind of awareness to every conversation? That's what happens when you're told that death is around the corner. You change. Life doesn't change. The true seeker commits to life like that every moment and lets nothing stop them. Why should anything stop you? You're just going to die anyway. If you challenge yourself to live as though it were your last week, your mind may come up with all kinds of suppressed desires. It may start talking about all the things that you always wanted to do, and you may think to have better go do them. You will soon see that's not the answer. You have to understand that it is your attempt to get special experiences from life that makes you miss the actual experience of life. Life is not something you get. It's something you experience. Life exists with or without you. It has been going on for billions of years. You simply get the honor of seeing a tiny slice of it. If you're busy trying to get something, you will miss the slice you're actually experiencing. Every one of life's experiences is different, and every experience is worth having. Life is not something to waste. It's truly precious. That's why death is such a great teacher. It is death that makes life precious. Look how precious life becomes when you imagine you only have a week left to live. How precious would life be if there was no such thing as that? You'd waste every second of it because you'd figure you always have it. It is scarcity that makes things precious. It is scarcity that makes a simple rock become a rare gem. So death actually gives meaning to life. Death is your friend. Death is your liberator. For God's sakes, do not be afraid of death. Try to learn what it's saying to you. The highest way to learn is to take each moment of your life and realize that what matters is to live it fully. If you live each moment completely, you will have a fuller life and you will not have to fear death. You fear death because you crave life. You fear death because you think there's something to get that you haven't experienced yet. Many people feel that death will take something away from them. The wise person realizes that death is constantly giving them something. Death is giving meaning to life. You are the one who throws your life away. You waste every second of it. You get in your car, drive here to there, and you don't see anything. You're not even there. You're busy thinking about what you're going to do next. You're a month ahead of yourself, or even a year. You're not living life. You're living mind. So it is you who throws your life away, not death. Death actually helps you get your life back by making you pay attention to the moment. It makes you say, my God, I'm going to lose this. I'm going to lose my children. This could be the last time I'll see them. From now on, I'm going to pay more attention to them and to my spouse, and to all my friends and loved ones. I want to get so much more out of life. If you are living every experience fully, then death doesn't take anything from you. There's nothing to take because you're already fulfilled. That's why the wise bee is always ready to die. It doesn't make you different when death comes. It doesn't make any difference when death comes because their experience is already whole and complete. Suppose you love music more than anything else. You always wanted to hear your favorite classical composition played by your favorite orchestra. That was the dream of your life. Finally, it happened. You're there and you're actually hearing it. It completely fills you. The very first notes lift you to the very you needed to go. This shows you that it only takes a moment to moment absorbed in a transcendental peace. You really don't need more time before death. What you need is more depth of experience during the time you're given. That's the way you live each moment of your life. You let it fill you completely. You let it touch you to the depth of your being. There's no moment that can't do that. Even if something terrible happens, view it as just another experience of life. Death has made you a great promise in which you can find deep peace. The promise is that all things are temporary. They're all just passing through time and space. If you have patience, this too will pass. The wise realize that in the end, life belongs to death. Death is the one who comes in his own time to take life from you. Death is the landlord, and you are just a tenant. People say things like, he's living on borrowed time, or he got a new lease on life. From whom did he borrow the time? From death, of course. Death is the one who comes to claim his property because he has always belonged to him. You should have a healthy relationship with death. And it should not be one of fear. Feel grateful to death for giving you another day, another experience, and for creating the scarcity that makes life so precious. If you do this, your life will no longer be yours to waste. It will be yours to appreciate. Death is an ultimate reality of life. The yogis and saints fully embrace death. St. Paul, O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? 1 Corinthians. Great beings don't mind speaking of death. Yogis have traditionally gone into graveyards and burning ghats to meditate. They sit there to remind themselves of the frailty of the body, the inevitability of death. Buddhists are taught to complete the temporal nature of things. Buddhists are taught to contemplate the temporal nature of things. It is all temporal. And death says this to you. So instead of getting lost in the normal mental chatter, why not contemplate the temporal nature of life? Why not think about something meaningful? Don't be afraid of death. Let it be free you. Let it encourage you to experience life fully. But remember, it's not your life. You should be experiencing the life that happens to you, not the one you wish would happen. Don't waste a moment of life trying to make other things happen. Appreciate the moment you're given. Don't you understand that every minute you are a step closer to death? This is how to live your life. Live it as though you were on the verge of death, because you are.
Inka, that was gorgeous. Gosh, no matter how many times I hear Michael Singer teach, I feel something new just rise. And as I was listening this time, what was heard really clearly, was that even death can't affect the truth of what we are. Even death. We have evolved from pure beingness. From this pure beingness, this was heard in contemplating Nisargadatta. From pure beingness, consciousness has arisen. And it's with this consciousness that we are, that everything in creation is known. So death can't affect the truth of what we are. But while we're here, it's a ride. It's a ride on a rock floating through space that somehow miraculously all seems to be pulled together. And so for today, maybe we can all play this game. Maybe for today, we contemplate what if this is the last time I interact with anyone? What if this one magnificent day is all that's left? It brings tears because there's so much gratitude. What if what you're experiencing right now, witnessing right in this moment, is the last thing that you'll witness as this form of consciousness? Not because what we are can ever be affected. What if this is the last breath that I will take right here, right now? Is there anything that I'm experiencing that I wouldn't be grateful for? And I can tell you, I feel this like rush of do better, move faster, speak more. That right there, that. Am I loving that? That expression of anxiousness that comes up in this body. That twinge of resistance to what's happening exactly as it is. It's never on the outside, it's always on the inside. And the imagination just shows flashes of what's happening and what should be different. Can I see that? What's watching that? Can I practice loving that? Not just what's showing up, but that is watching it. Over the last several months of intensely practicing loving what is, I can finally, for the first time, feel that loving what is my natural state. Loving is my natural state. And so how can I not love what is? Because everything's just happening. And for my entire life, I've had a romance with death. It's not that I've experienced a ton of people passing away in this life. And the very first person I remember passing away was my great-grandfather, and he was a mean old man. I remember hiding behind my grandmother's skirts every time we'd go up to do something with him. And when he died, it was like, phew, don't have to do that anymore. And I was young. And then the next time someone I personally experienced passing away in this life was, I was 10 years old. And a cousin of mine, also 10 years old, passed away from a lifelong battle with kidney disease. After that, there wasn't another death in this life until I was 22, when my paternal grandfather passed away. And as Muslims, we bury within 24 hours, which meant basically that all the brothers got together, washed the body, wrapped it in a white sheet, and put it in a pine box. And that was the first time that I actually saw what death looked like. Seen kill on the side of the road, but actually saw that this is what death looked like. And it scared the living bejesus out of me. Felt like something in me wanted to die. Now, this whole time, I, as a person, believed that life was completely unsafe. Tons of suffering. Everything in life is terrible. My father's family were refugees from World War II. They had PTSD, although none of it was diagnosed or treated. So there was a lot of, oh my God, we are not safe happening in this life. And all of that was transmitted. Lots of violent reactions to almost nothing, violent behavior to almost nothing. And I remember being consumed by the idea that eventually these people would die. And that would take the suffering away. There was this constant search outside. And then at some point there became a romance with suicide. Maybe that could take the suffering away, because the suffering was believed to be real and death was the partner that would take it. But it consumed my life. And then at some point, which was interesting in all of this, my mother, who was a bright light, was born a Christian. And she always had this love of God. And she would just, no matter what happened, no matter how far we strayed, no matter what kind of stupid, crazy stuff we did, she would always tell us that she knew everything would be okay. And no matter what sort of craziness was happening in our house, she always believed in everything, with everything in her heart, that we were taken care of, that God was watching us. Now, I didn't believe any of that. I thought she was nuts. So I embarked on the other path, which was, how could I improve the very broken, very unsafe, very crazy Rhoda character? And I spent a lifetime trying to fix that person. Started a marriage, immediately into the marriage, reading how to fix the marriage. Like, there was always somehow it was going to get fixed. And always in the back of the mind, death. Would death come? Would death fix this? Either by removing the ones who Rhoda perceived to be the problem, or removing Rhoda. One of those two things. Because there had to be a reason for the chaos. And certainly God had to be dead, or none of this craziness would exist. All this constant searching for meaning just kept reinforcing this belief that Rhoda is separate and broken. And what I hear loud and clear in Michael Singer's teaching is that there's nothing to get from life. Nothing to get from life. Life is something you experience. So wait, what? Wait, what? You mean life doesn't have a meaning? Like, wait, Rhoda, the Rhoda, there's no, wait, what? Are you kidding me? Imagine Michael Singer's words. Imagine if you knew you were going to die within a week or a month. How would that change things? How would your priorities change? How would your thoughts change? No one knows when their time will be. That's just not how it works. At some point, children came into this life, and that became the new source of meaning. I was a mom. And at some point, that constant love affair with death resurfaced itself. And I was introduced to Loving What Is by Byron Katie. And I spent years doing the work. I hired a facilitator to come in and do the work with me 5 days a week. Just help me do the work. During that whole time, not once did it ever land, even sitting in a room with Katie, did it land, hey, those aren't your thoughts. Never landed. Those aren't your thoughts. Wait, what? Those aren't your thoughts. there is a system in here that is basically a recorder that records everything that's happening, every perception, every experience, every moment, records everything that happens, and then it codes it, codifies it, and then something new happens, and the system creates a belief. And it says that happened because of this. It just took all that data, randomly pulled some crap together and said, this happened because of this. And that's where attention goes. And that's where this one believed was the cure. So all that work, beautiful for seeing that thoughts aren't reliable, aren't trustworthy. But to finally see, wait a minute, they feel like my thoughts because I've believed I'm a body for a really long time. And I believed that I was a mind for a really long time. But they're really not my thoughts. And they really have nothing to do with me. And they really just continue to create meaning about a separate Rhoda, a separate Kelly, a separate Shauna, a separate Inka, a separate Anne that isn't really here. It just keeps creating these meanings. And so to finally hear, this isn't your thought. Wait, what? Sit with it again. This isn't your thought. This isn't about you. This, like the breeze blowing, like the sun shining, is just happening. It's just happening. When I listened to Michael Singer teach about death, and when I contemplated on my own, what it does for me is it increases my desire for liberation. Where is my attention going? Is my attention on a thought that isn't true? Or is my attention on reality? Am I experiencing reality as it is right here, right now? I realize that time is running out, so I just want to leave you with Michael Singer's last words. Don't be afraid of death. Let it free you. Let it encourage you to experience life fully. But remember, it's not your life. You should be experiencing the life that is happening, not the one you wish was happening. And for me, that means every day, every moment, I get to ask, am I here? Am I here? Where is my attention? Am I experiencing the life that is before me? Am I loving what is? And for me, that's freedom. So I would like to invite you to just get up out of your seat if you feel to. We are going to play the last song. Well, you didn't hear that big sigh of, oh, that felt good to just get up and move. Holy mackerel. We have 2 minutes left. And if anyone would like to share, I invite you to please unmic yourself and share. Kelly, did I see your hand up?
Yeah. I just want to say thank you so much. That was just a beautiful message, beautiful reading. Thank you, Inka. There was so much clarity coming through just the reading. I also, every time I read Michael Singer, it's like just all this experience will come up for me to review. And the one thing that really struck me was his idea that your attempt to have these special experiences is what is getting in the way of you living life. And I remember I took a economics class when I went back to school, and I never thought I'd get anything out of economics, but there was this idea called opportunity cost. And it was just the idea that every time you spend money on this particular thing, whether it's a good or a service or investment, you're losing all the other places you could spend that money. And I realized that sometimes I get caught up in this, regret or fear that I've made wrong choices, like my entire life, right? From the beginning to now, just wrong choices. And I get stuck in that. And what this was reminding me was that it's not about God's will, and life is not about some external circumstance of any kind. It's about this internal condition that we can just allow to be within us and through us. And it's not about some event or special experience that we're supposed to have to be fulfilled. It's about living the life that we are. And that was such a beautiful revelation and reminder to me. So I just thank you. Beautiful. Love you. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Kelly. And with that said, we are at the end of the bottom of the hour. Shauna was kind enough to place a link in the chat. As a church, we are supported through the donations of our members. So if you feel inspired by anything at all that Awakening Together offers, we invite you to check within and click the link or scan the QR code and make a donation. Love to you all. Inka, thank you for that beautiful reading. Kelly, thank you for that gorgeous sharing. Thank you for dancing with me and enjoying this moment with me. I love you all.
Love you.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.